We're ready with the NFL draft. It's coming up real quick. NFL free agency has gone through that first and second phase. So I want to look at what the Browns have done so far in free agency, dig deep a little bit, and see if any of these signings are really impact, as well as, of course, mock draft season. I got a pretty sweet and interesting mock draft, a 4-rounder for the Browns. Stay tuned. Let's get to the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, the sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Shabba-lubba hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody, to the show. I'm Andy McNamara. Let's get cooking, folks, okay? It's so close to the draft, but it's still so far away, right? There's mocks all over the place. There's pro days happening. We'll get to that, the Cam Ward one, in just a moment. But first, make sure you are clicking on subscribe, notification bell on. Share the show. Let me know, too. Jump in the comment section. Follow us on X, at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, on Instagram, at AndyMCSports. Let me know your thoughts on Browns free agency and who you want the Browns to draft at number 2 overall. Or is it a trade down? Something else. Get creative. You know, let's see. Like I said, I'm going to have a 4-round mock a little bit later on in the show. First, before we get to our guest, Cam Ward's pro day out of Miami, right? Likely the first overall pick. And after Tennessee's presence compared to the Browns' lack thereof, I think it's locked. I think it's locked up. Now, could it be a swerve? Could it be a little? Sure. But the Tennessee Titans sent their GM, their coach, their OC, their team videographer for their website. They're taking Cam Ward. And how can you not? You got Will Levis. Well, you're not going to take Cam Ward? And by the way, his pro day was sensational. Absolutely tremendous. The rumors are that could still be Abdul Carter, but if you're the Titans, what else are you got? If you're not blown away, someone's got to completely wow you, which still could happen. Giants were there too at Cam Ward's pro day. The Browns only sent their assistant GM Glenn Cook and a scout. Now, why? Why, when the Giants, who are a spot below the Browns, and if Tennessee's going to take him, why are they there? There are other players, of course. But Cam Ward was the show. He was moving good footwork. He was going on his feet. He looked great. But why did the Browns not send any notables? Few reasons, perhaps. Andrew Berry said in the past they prefer to review film and not waste time being there in person. Their draft record, I think maybe you should change strategies, Mr. Berry. Maybe they figure Tennessee is definitely going to take him, so there's no reason to. Well, then why are the Giants there? Maybe it's a swerve. Maybe it's a little bit of everything in between. But to me, it is looking like clear separation between Cam Ward and everybody else in that draft. So I just want to put that out there. You got the Ohio State one coming up, Penn State, got everybody. And that's the last, very, very last bit that we'll get to see these players in some sort of action before the draft. And you should get some action on your sandwich, your burgers, your hot dogs, stadium mustard. That's what you need. That's what you need, folks. Our spicy mustard from Ohio. You can get it at Cleveland Browns Stadium. You can get it all over Ohio. You can get it all over America, Canada. Ship it up. Look at that. And I'm telling you, on pork chops. Underrated on your pork chops. But sandwiches, burgers, the weather's hopefully starting to kind of get a bit nicer. Baseball season's around the corner. Get your stadium mustard. I love it. You'll love it. I promise. And joining us on the Stadium Mustard Hotline, friend of show. He is a contributor to Cleveland.com and former Cleveland high school football coach. It is Lance Reisland. Lance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Andy. How are you today?
Good. Love the shirt. We're both repping. So I got some Cleveland whiskey going. You got the state. We're feeling good, buddy.
Absolutely. Draft season. It's great.
Boy, man, it's crazy, right? It all the rumors, and I think because the Browns have not had a first round pick in so long, I kind of forgot all the drama that goes around with the draft. Like, my head's spinning. Is yours like, I don't know what's up or down anymore with all these rumors?
Well, there's paralysis by analysis at this point, right? So everybody is just kind of, you got to go with what you like. The Andrew Bear, I heard you speaking earlier, and I'm not against the film, especially for a quarterback. Quarterbacks are so different when there's live bullets, right? So when there's pressure, when there's a getting sacked, pro days for me for a pro. Now, if you want to see his arm strength, if you want to see true height and weight, things like that, if you didn't do it at the combine, but the film for a quarterback for me is the most important thing, just because that's where it happens. It's easy to be good when you're in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yes, you're 100% right. And also, not just only that, Lance, but you're in the shorts and the t-shirt in a comfortable setting. At least the combine, it's uncomfortable, right? That's a little bit of a difference there. So I'm with you. The one thing I would say, though, is if you're there, you can see how these guys are in person. You can get a little vibe with the person. You can talk to person. Maybe in between passes that you won't see on film, you see something you don't like or that you do like. Just those little extras, maybe. But I guess Glenn Cook can report back on that, I guess.
Yeah, you're right, though. Body language, how he handles his teammates, how he handles a bad throw, a good throw, things like that. You're right about that. That's absolutely true. And that's why those the pro days and the combine, for me, they confirm what you see on film. But you're absolutely right in terms of, how a guy handles the situation. That's why I think throwing at the combine is so important. That's why I'm so high on Shuck right now and Brady Cook, because those guys were outstanding at the combine. Obviously, Cam Ward's a heck of a talent. I still think Shedeur Sanders is still my number one. But I really like what Cam Ward did. But you're right, though. His just how they handle themselves, how they handle the media, how they handle all this stuff they're going to get at the NFL level is very important, too, because that's part of it.
Yeah, it is. And before we get to the Browns free agent signings, you mentioned Tyler Shuck. This guy's rocking it up. And I always find it funny, too, because they haven't played an actual game, but you see all these different, Jackson Dart's another one who I use the combine, and we talked about this before, of you like what you like when you watch on film and game stuff. And then you use the Senior Bowl, you use the combine to serve as those extra steps. And I wasn't impressed with Jackson Dart at the beginning of the Senior Bowl, more so as it went on. Coming out of the combine, though, Lance, I got to tell you, for me, he's neck and neck with Shedeur Sanders right now as far as potential talent. I think still Shedeur probably has the higher floor day one readiness advantage. But boy, that Jackson Dart. And what I love is when I go into a situation not liking a player and I come out liking him, because then it's really like, whoa, wow, you impressed me. What do you think of Jackson Dart?
Oh, I love, on film, he's as hot and cold as you get in college football this year. Now, playing for Lane Kiffin, he does really good, nice job with the play action. He does struggle sometimes in the pocket with his footwork, things that are correctable. Has great arm talent, has a little bit of mox to him, has a little bit of attitude to him. I like that. You're right about in terms of readiness, though, and there's not a position, even for somebody like me who watches a lot of film and like to think I try to analyze the right thing. There's not a position that is worse by people like me in terms of quarterback, right? It's hard to analyze a quarterback and how they're going to be at the next level because you don't know that it factor, and that it factor doesn't show up on film. That doesn't show up on the combine. That shows up when you're with those people and you're in the NFL. So I'm with you. I think Jackson Dart has a fantastic upside because of his athletic ability. And the thing I have really changed on is having that body type as a quarterback. You got to have some LBs on you to take the pounding with these, guy like Myles Garrett. When you stand next to Myles Garrett, you better be big and strong because these guys, they're grown men and they're fast. And the pounding you're going to take, you better have some LBs behind you to be able. And Jackson is, especially in the lower body, is very thick.
Yeah, has the prototypical height, weight. Also, Tyler Shuck, certainly 6'5", I think 219 he weighed in on. And you mentioned Brady Cook. And I like this guy, 6'2", 214. And I don't know where the heck he's going to be drafted, but he had 20 rushing touchdowns in college, 49 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 4 straight bowl games. A lot to like. I'm not saying he's a day one starter, but boy, if you could snag somebody like that in, I don't know, around 5 or something, like nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think Shuck would even be higher if he wasn't so old. People get
sorry. Brady Cook, I was talking about. I meant
okay.
Brady
So
Cook
going back to both, Shuck was outstanding, but Brady Cook, you're right. So what do you like about Brady Cook on film is he's tough and he can run the ball. He's got great feet in the pocket. And you, once again, going back to what you said, the importance of the combine in these pro days, you could see the confidence and the attitude, the positive, I'd say the positive body language that Brady Cook was showing. He wanted the ball every time. I like to see guys when they get to drills, are they first in line? How do they compete? Brady Cook was that guy. He was first in line. He made all the throws, the deep outs, and he can run the football because he did a lot of design run at Missouri. So there's a guy, once again, when it comes down to what do you like and what do you evaluate and how important are certain traits, and are you taking the best guy or a guy that fits your scheme? Because you can say I'm taking the best guy, but sometimes the guy who fits your scheme is going to be the best guy, especially if the talent level is close, which a lot of these quarterbacks are. So if you're not taking one of those top 2 guys, there's a lot of guys that might fit your particular scheme. A guy like Brady Cook, a guy like Tyler Shuck, they might fit Stefanski's scheme a little bit better than somebody else.
Yeah, great point. And a perfect example last year, Bo Nix, Sean Payton with the Broncos. Right? He wasn't for everybody, and we talked about it. For me and you, it's like, pretty average guy.
Yeah.
And I bet you pick 10 other teams, he would be average. But the right system, right spot, right coach, and we saw him flourish. So
you only need one guy to like you. 32 teams, although you only need one guy to like what you do. And like you said, obviously being in that system, Bo Nix showed you a lot. He showed you what experience does. He shows you what seeing a lot of stuff. Being an older guy, there's sometimes that's looked down upon. But maybe at a quarterback position, maybe that's starting to change in terms of like these guys with game experience is very, very important.
Well, Shuck's 7 years, I think, in school, right? So
yeah,
there's it.
Those are usually doctors, but yes, that's what it was. 7 years.
He's kind of in between Bo Nix and Brandon Whedon, age and experience wise, right? A little bit in between. Okay, let's get to the Browns free agents here, Lance. And as we expected, because the Browns are cash strapped because of the Deshaun Watson debacle contract, they had to be kind of balling on a budget per se. So the 2 main free agents, and they added Jerome Baker, which was a nice add. That probably means not so good news for JOK, unfortunately. But let's start with edge Joe Tryon-Shoyinka from Tampa Bay. And Jamie, if you can pull up the clip that Lance sent us from, here we go. Okay, take us through this, Lance.
So you can see him on the edge here. Here he comes. He's really long. That was at the 5 technique and where he'll play then. Now you got him down inside. He plays a little bit down inside at 6'5", 260, 265. He can change direction very well. He does a lot of things very, very well. Unfortunately, so again, here you're going to see great length here. You're going to see him extend, a little swim, and then get to the ball carry. Now, what Shoyinka does, I tried to break him down because I loved him out of Washington when he came out. And here's what I came up with. So at Tampa Bay, he did a lot of different things. He played the 5 technique. He played inside. They played a multiple front there. He actually had to cover sometimes. He played in space. All things he can do very well. But then you look at the reps, right? And he only played about 55 to 60, maybe 50 to 60% of the reps. So now he's only playing half the reps, and he's playing at a bunch of different spots. Where you see him have the most success is at that 5 technique end, which is where he'll play, I believe, with the Browns. Now, I could be wrong, but I think they have him opposite Miles, with Miles maybe going inside with Shoyinka outside. What you like about Shoyinka is he's if you can get him. So, I wrote about him earlier this year, and I talked about the finding a spot for him and getting him game repetitions. So I think if he goes into camp and he's just playing that end opposite of Miles, especially on passing downs, which is where they really need him, he could be an absolute steal because of his length, because of his pass rush plan. He's got a really good pass rush plan. He plays with a great motor. Sometimes he doesn't counter very well. Sometimes he gets his first move and his second move, and then they get blocked and he kind of gets stuck. Those are all things he's going to learn from Myles Garrett in terms of how to use his bend. Now, you're talking about a guy with great physical skills, though. Long arms, the ability to bend. He's got a pretty decent pass rush plan, but he doesn't always use it. But that's because he was in so many spots. So I think this could be a guy, when you're saying balling on a budget, this is a guy, this is a very high reward, low risk guy. They don't need him to be a star. They need him to be a 5 technique rush end and then go from there. And it's kind of one of the things that I like about Kevin Stefanski and their staff is that they're big on focusing on what guys do well, not what they do poorly. And that's important as a coach, because sometimes as coaches, we want to fix everything. Take what a guy does well and go with it. And what Shoyinka does very well is he rushes very well from the edge as a 5 technique end. He's in that odd front in Tampa where he had to do a bunch. He's going to be in a 4 front opposite Miles, getting a one-on-one. I would not be shocked if he has between 7 and 11 sacks, just because he's going to get single coverage. And you're going to see he has a lot of talent. And obviously he's going to have to harness that, but he's going to get reps, and he's going to get reps at one spot. And I think that's really going to be beneficial to him.
Well, Lance, you got me excited about Tryon-Shoyinka now. Okay, I'm pumped now. I didn't know much about him. I was a bit underwhelmed because of the stat line you saw, but what you laid out makes perfect sense. Look, prototypical size, 6'5", 259, was the 32nd pick, the last first-round pick in the year Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, the Brady year, and still just, 25 years old. So what you're saying is we have him specialize in what he does well, and there's where you have a real opportunity to bust loose. And right now on the Browns depth chart, and I find this curious. This isn't the final one going into camp, I'm sure, but I find this layout curious on ESPN. Yeah, Myles Garrett, of course, and then Alex right behind him. The other starting edge is Isaiah McGuire. And I love Isaiah McGuire coming out. But Isaiah McGuire, then Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, then Obo. After that, does that depth chart, not holding the Browns to it, but is that surprise you a little bit?
It doesn't, because what the Browns like to do, and Alex Reich's going to go inside a bunch. He had his best success last year was at the three technique. So I think what the Browns, and I've said this before, Schwartz likes to play three levels, right? The front level, the second level, and then the secondary, right? So that front level guys, there's guys like Shoyinka who's going to be, I perceive predominantly outside. I could be totally wrong. He has played inside. But now you got other guys who can play inside. Alex Wright, Myles. So he likes to play 8 guys. And I think as long as you're in that rotation, especially on third down and long, what they have to do is they have to win first down, which is what they struggled with last year. They got to win first down, so then they can unleash these guys and put them in different spots. Because a 3 technique, when an offense can run or pass, is a big deal. A 3 technique, it doesn't matter who it is if it's 3rd and 8. They're going to throw the ball, and as a 3 technique, you're going to get against a guard who can't move his feet as well. So I just think he's going to be much better when he's in one spot and he gets to work on his craft. You don't get better by film. You get better by repping, and you watch the film and you rep it. And he's going to get nothing but reps at that 5 technique end, and I think he's going to be outstanding because once again on 3rd and long they can move right inside at 260. That's 270. Obo played inside a little bit last year. Myles can go inside. So there are multiple parts. And remember, Schwartz really likes to find those matchups, and the more guys he can get, the more guys he can find matchups for Myles Garrett, which is ultimately the goal.
Right. Okay. I feel you now. All right. So if you have Garrett, really predominantly Garrett and Tryon-Shoyinka at the ends, mix and match McGuire, Wright, Obo with Maliek Collins, with Shelby Harris, and sort of do that little switch in and out. That's where really that creativity of Schwartz can come through. Okay. You got me excited, man. You got me excited about Tryon-Shoyinka. I like it. Okay, I'm on board. Lance, you got me on board. Let's go. I dig him. Okay. Now, the other, using quotations, big signing, Maliek Collins. You let go Dalvin Tomlinson, mainly a plug guy. Did a nice job this time in Cleveland. Didn't wow you, but he was good. He was good. Wasn't great. He was good. Good job by Dalvin Tomlinson. You bring in Maliek Collins. Before we look at the footage, can you compare the two? Because what we've really been missing, and you have Shelby Harris as well back, what the Browns have really been missing is that interior pass rush, that get to the quarterback. You've had stuffers, but not to penetrate. Is Maliek Collins more of that or more of what Tomlinson was doing, in your opinion?
Well, for me, Tomlinson was a big loss. And what I mean by that is Tomlinson's a boring guy, and boring guys are good as defensive linemen at times, especially on first and second down. So what Tomlinson gave you is he gave you a heavy body. And when you're a big, heavy body, you're taking on double teams, and they can't leave the double teams to get to those linebackers. And the Browns like to play smaller linebackers. They like to get Delpit down in there. So JOK was undersized, things like that. But what he did very well doesn't really show up on the stat sheet. He's kind of a boring guy and he occupies space. That's huge. Now, he's not a great pass rusher. Maliek Collins does a great job with he's got a highly evolved pass rush plan. He can club and rip and spin. So he's going to give you a little bit more activity. I think he gives you a little bit more with Jim Schwartz in terms of getting upfield. But remember, when you get upfield like he does, you don't protect those linebackers as much. So it's going to be, it's kind of a fine line. Like I said, I was a big Tomlinson fan. I know he didn't produce sacks-wise that people like, but when you watch the film, Dalvin takes up a lot of space, and that's why he was signed so quickly. Yeah. What Tomlinson does is Tomlinson took up those space, and now all of a sudden JOK and Hicks and these guys can run free because of what Tomlinson's doing. Now, we'll see if the rest of the guys up front are doing their job and maintaining their gap, the linebackers are getting off people, then it's not a big deal because you're going to create – Maliek Collins is going to create – he does create a lot of havoc in the background. So very, very good with his hands.
6'2", 310, 29 years old, third-round pick in 2016. Jimmy, pull up some of the Maliek Collins footage that Lance has for us. We'll walk us through.
So you can see here, just a spin move. You can see how active his feet are. Very, very strong. Plays with great leverage. You see him here against the Rams. Again, just a guy, he's very good in a short area. He's got great short area burst. He sets a lot of things up. All right. So he's a guy that gives you just really active hands. He sets things up throughout the game. So if he beats you with the bull rush, he's going to set something else up. You can also tell he watches a lot of film because he attacks things that guards don't do very well. He's another guy that can play outside because of his feet and his short area burst. So again, he can help you find matchups. So, if the Browns want to stay in their base personnel and the offense wants to stay in their base personnel, then you can move him outside and maybe you like the guard matchup with Miles. But you can't do that unless that defensive tackle can go out to the 5 technique as well. So again, a lot of flexibility with what position he can play, a lot of flexibility. Once again, now the Browns, unless they draft a guy who's heavy, which I think they will, even in the later rounds, they're going to basically pass rush to stop the run, which means they're all going to have a gap. And everybody has to be real gap sound, though, because there's not a guy who's going to be occupying people. So we'll see what happens. I think losing Thompson is bigger than what people think just because of what he did against the run. And for the Browns to get to where they want as a defensive line, they have to win on first down because then they create those second, third long yardage situations, which is the only time. If the Browns are in where the offense can run or pass, they're not as good as they are when they win on first down and then they can turn it loose with those exotic looks that Schwartz likes to run. But they got to win first down and create long yardage situations.
Right. That's the key. Get that first down success. And I have to say that Maliek Collins, that speed when I saw in these clips, Lance, like I was very surprised. He looked linebacker-esque, and that dude 6'2", 310. That speed, that burst that you mentioned, he is very quick twitch, very just seems fast. And if you have a guy that big who can move like that coming at you, this might be an underrated signing as well, right? Like I think, and I know, like you said, you got to make sure you're sound in the gap, and you have to make sure you stop those runs. But boy, if you can let Maliek Collins loose, that could be that penetrator you're looking for. Then also you roll in Michael Hall, hopefully back healthy in another year, who had some nice little flashes. Shelby Harris behind that. So maybe this D tackle line, and you had someone in the draft, maybe the D tackle line, not so bad.
Well, and once again, so Mike Hall is a guy who came in. He was very, very low on my thing against the run, but he was my number one defensive tackle against the pass because of his ability to pass rush. So they need, in my opinion, the only thing they're lacking maybe is a first down guy, a first and second down guy who's a heavy guy who just takes up things. But those are guys you can find. The guys that they've drafted and the guys who went out and get are guys who are pretty good at what they do, and they like to get upfield. So that's important. I think the Browns, once again, they like to play 7-8 guys. They like to be fresh. They like to get upfield. They like to penetrate. It's a one gap, aggressive. It dictates style. They're not waiting for what the offense. They're not reacting to the offense. They're attacking the offense, and that's what Jim Schwartz likes to do.
Yeah, 5 sacks each of the last 2 seasons for Maliek Collins as well. So good production there. That one in Houston, one in San Francisco. Let's wrap up, Lance, with a look at that linebacker group. We mentioned it, and boy, we haven't heard anything on JOK and that neck, and there's rumors he's looking for. Like, we don't know if he's going to play this year, if at all. They re-upped Devin Bush, who did a lot on special teams, former first-round pick, did fine. They added Jerome Baker, Cleveland guy. You have somebody we liked. Who was it? Nathaniel Watson. That's the guy we liked coming out of the draft last year, I think, right?
Yeah, Watson, big guy, big physical guy. Yep.
Yeah. You liked him. And you got Diabate. So it's Jordan Hicks who gets banged up. He's still on there, the veteran. So just your overall feel on this linebacker group. It seems a little hodgepodge without JOK.
Well, without JOK, it's a position they're going to have to address in the draft if JOK can't play. Not because those guys behind him aren't good, but you need a game changer at every level in a Jim Schwartz defense. Obviously, they have it in the secondary. They have it at the defensive line. JOK was that difference maker at the second level. I think Jordan Hicks is important because of his ability to wear the green dot and get everybody lined up. I think Diabate's got a great future. He's long. But what seems to be the most successful is a guy like Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon, a guy who's a true hybrid. 6'1", 6'2", about 230, can cover, can play in space, can blitz. Those are the guys that almost the non-traditional linebackers seem to be the best in Schwartz's. Even if you look at a guy like Grant Delpit when he's down in the box, those guys who are second level guys who can play multiple positions, they can cover, they can tackle, they can do a bunch of things. That's kind of where the NFL linebacker is going. The guys who are, the guys who are 6'2", 6'3", 250, who are plugs, you just don't see those guys very much because that's not what offenses are doing anymore. So I think what the Browns are going to have to do, I think they're solid. Even without JOK, they're solid. They're not they're not by any means like dreadful. JOK gives him an elite player, all-pro player at all three levels, which is so important at the NFL level. So I just think that, we'll see what happens. I still think, the backers that really fit this scheme, Bossa, Campbell, probably a second-round guy. There's this Munnan guy out of Georgia who's a raw athlete. He'll be around day 3, and he's a guy who can fly around. They need guys who can fly around and make tackles. They don't have a lot of responsibility besides find the ball and go get it.
Okay, so Munnan out of Georgia, Campbell. All right,
he's out of Alabama, and then my favorite, even though he'll be around day 3, just because I think they have other things they need to address. This kid at Jeffrey Bossa out of Oregon. Right. Watch him on film. He does a great job, and he does a great job against Ohio State and the teams that really try to get physical. He does a great job, and I know he can cover in space, so I wanted to see him against a power run. He would fit this scheme. He's the best scheme fit, I think, in the draft for the Browns at linebacker.
And you think he might be a third-round guy?
Oh, I think he'll be around just because he's a little bit undersized. He's a true hybrid guy. So if you play that traditional, he can't be an odd front guy because those guards are unblocked and they'll get out to him. Some teams won't like him because he doesn't have that traditional height. He's kind of got I want to say he's kind of like JOK, right? That's the reason JOK made it to where he was. So Jeffrey Bossa is a guy I think will be around day 3, and he'll be late day. He'll be around 4 to 7, depending on what teams need. But in terms of fit, so when you talk about scheme fit and a ceiling, this is a guy that will, I was very high on Peyton Wilson. I was very high on Ivan Pace. Those guys who are, when you watch them on film, there's just a difference. And Bossa is a difference maker at that linebacker. Obviously, JOK can come back, but I think Bossa's a guy. He's also a great leader. He played for Dan Lanning at Oregon, which tells you he knows how to read fronts. He knows how to read double teams. He's well coached. He's a guy I just love. I love his motor. I love his attitude. He plays with like an anger that is important for a linebacker. And for me, he's been one of my favorite breakdowns. Now, the Campbell kid out of Alabama will probably be a day 2 guy just because he's 6'3", 235. Right. But there's some guys. This Bossa guy kind of reminds me of Ivan Pace, who was an undrafted guy, and I absolutely loved him. And the reason why is because he's just a guy who plays irritated. And loved him at Miami, Ohio. Loved him when he went to Cincinnati. Same with Bossa. Bossa is just really a really good football player. His numbers are good in terms of measurements. They're not great, but he's just a guy, when you watch on film, it's hard not to fall in love with the guy because he just flies around.
Interesting. Okay, so someone to track maybe with the Browns' second, third-round pick, or if they can get in the back into the 4th round, whatever it might be. So, okay, so Bossa, we have some names to follow at linebacker there. Lance, great stuff as always, man. We'll have you back on either right before the draft, right after, to break it down, whatever, and we'll go from there. But thank you so much as always. Tell people where they can find you.
Well, I'm on X and I'm on Instagram. It's just at Lance Reisland. Real simple, again, just on both things. If you want to check out some football stuff, it's all there for you.
Yeah, there you see it on the screen. Tremendous breakdown on your social accounts and also right here as always. Lance, thank you so much, buddy.
As always, thanks for having me.
All right, there he goes, Lance Reisland, former high school Cleveland football coach and contributor to Cleveland.com. I'm telling you, folks, I love watching and reading the breakdowns that Lance is able to provide, just like we saw on the show here, right? Just like we saw on the show. You watch, and then you're able to see these little flashes, and he points it out. I have to say, I'm impressed with Maliek Collins, more so than I thought. And the sound got time. It's like, all right, just a guy. With Lance breakdown in that film, I'm feeling good. I am now excited about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I think we have to come with a nickname. It's a pretty long name. JTS. Come JTS. If he can be, and sometimes we talk about quarterback fit. Sometimes it's player fit too at other positions. If he's best at edge rushing, and Tampa Bay had him all over the place, well, okay, maybe if you just focus, it's good and it'll work. So this in a rotational setting could be a lot better with the addition of Collins, with Mike Hall coming back, hopefully an uneventful offseason, unlike he had last legal trouble. It could be looking pretty decent. So the defensive line, not as bad as maybe we thought originally. Okay, I got a mock. Who wants a mock draft? I know I do. I put together a 4-rounder. Now, this is from the Pro Football Network, their mock draft machine. There's a few of them around. This is great because they offer trades that pop up, right? Different scenarios. You do it a bunch of times. It is so much fun to do. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to be open to trades. We've done them on the show before, with trades, without trades. We're going to be open to trades and see what happens. I'm going to take you through what mine was. Jimmy, if you can pull up the mock. Now, look at the names quick and bear with me here, okay? Hold on. I know you're going to see Jackson Dart at 5 and freaking out, right? Here's what happened. So, first overall, Cam Ward was taken by Tennessee Titans. So, at that point, which I think is going to happen, then I have to decide, do I want Shedeur Sanders at 2? Well, as I was contemplating, the virtual phone rang, and on the Pro Football Network mock draft system, the Jacksonville Jaguars came a-calling. And they said, Browns, we'll give you 5th overall, we'll give you pick 36 in the 2nd round, and we'll give you pick 70 in the 3rd round, as well as a 2nd and 3rd round pick in 2026. A sensational haul. I didn't request this. This came from the AI simulator. So if it's me, and if you're the Browns and Shedeur Sanders, you could take him or leave him in love and not. I am taking that haul and I am filling up. Now, at this time when it came to 5, we had Travis Hunter was gone. Of course, Abdul Carter was gone. I believe Mason Graham was taken right before as well. So Mason Graham, I was leaning, if he was still there, I might have taken him. But instead, I thought, well, you could always trade down again. Tried a couple scenarios. Nothing was clicking. So I thought, why not? We're going to shock the world. The Browns had Jackson Dart in my scenario, matched or better with Shedeur Sanders. I think his ceiling is higher than Sanders, maybe not as ready right now. You guys know I would take Will Howard. But I thought for this case, we're going to go Jackson Dart. And everyone goes bananas. 5 Jackson Dart. What a reach. Oh, no. But we learn from the Bo Nix experiment. If he's your guy, you go get him. You don't mess around. And the Browns have extra picks, so you can reach for a quarterback here and still, with the haul we got from Jacksonville, make up and fill all those needs. The Browns need draft picks on the cheap. So we got Jackson Dart, quarterback of the future. We're feeling good. Love it. Hopefully, you can start sooner than later if we get Kenny Babyhands picking on the roster. Who knows who the other bet's going to be. First round goes, then we swing around to 33. Well, I mentioned I wanted Mason Graham. We talked D tackle, right? We got Maliek Collins, looks good. Shelby Harris is a placeholder right now. Michael Hall, good, but what can we expect from him? I want a difference maker. I want a pass rusher. I want to keep that rotation going. So the offense got Jackson Dart. We say Jim Schwartz. Here's another gift for you. For me, probably the 2nd best defensive tackle, or at least a 2A, 2B in this draft. Derek Harmon out of Oregon. This guy's a playmaker, a difference maker. So now we have Jackson Dart, quarterback of the future franchise QB. We got Derek Harmon to pop into that defense. Now that front line, that's phenomenal. You pop Derek Harmon in there with that rotation, holy cow, let's go. Myles Garrett's going to be pumped about that. Schwartz is going to be excited about it. Then, because of the trade, we're up again at 36. Well, guess what? I want a running back. Guess who's on the board? A guy who's very similar skill set-wise to Nick Chubb, and I hope they still bring Nick Chubb back on a 1-year deal. Bring him back for the fans, please. Please. You can have him as a goal line guy, change of pace. He's not going to be expensive. No one's calling Nick Chubb. Come on, Nick. Bring him back for a feel-good, and you have a backfield of a young-looking Nick Chubb with coming out of college, better hands in the pass-catching game out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton. And how funny. Nick Chubb was a 2nd-round pick, high 2nd-round pick. So is Omarion Hampton to the Browns. So now we got future quarterback. Derek Harmon, rock solid line of scrimmage. And we got a playmaker, Hampton, to go along. Imagine this backfield. Hampton, Ford, Chubb. Who says no? That's sensational. You still get the bit of feel good. Let Chubb go out as a Brown, and he's still going to be useful. So then we have, that's our 2 2nd-round picks. Then we go to the 3rd, 67. That's our pick. Browns need tight ends. On the roster right now, it's David Njoku and Blake Whiteheart. Now, Whiteheart actually had a couple good passes, but he is a fringe guy, practice squad guy, he's a special teamer. You need a playmaker. Harold Fannin Jr. And where he distinguishes himself a little bit from the others is that he's a willing and capable blocker. You got a guy like Loveland who, not a great blocker, playmaker. Fannin Jr. can catch the ball, he can make plays after the catch, and he can block. So now we pair him with Njoku. You can sign another veteran, whoever that might be, right? Because with the Stefanski offense coming back, remember, we need four. We need four guys. Maybe the fourth guy's Blake Whiteheart or whoever else you had in there. But now you got Njoku and Fannin who can come in. You have a veteran that can help if Fannin needs a little bit of time to work up to the pro game. And we're on our way. So now we got that. And it lessens the pressure for a wide receiver because you're going to be using the tight ends more. So Fannin can be that rookie pass catcher that you can wait on a wide receiver for. So you don't need one right away, and it fills a position of need. We have to hope that we have Jerry Jeudy keep going, right? Keep popping up. We have to hope that some of the younger players keep coming up. We have to hope that my guy Cedric Tillman, I got 2 autographed rookie cards that you said, come on, that he's clear of the concussion stuff and he can pop up. But Fannin and Njoku, Fannin has that new pass catcher with a vet. Now we go to 70. All right, well, we got another bonus pick from the Jags in the 3rd round. So pick 70 overall. What do we need? That safety position, folks, is razor thin. I'm glad Juan Thornhill's gone. Go to the Steelers. He sucks. But let's look at what the safeties are now. Now, you lost to Anthony Bell in free agency, and I think that was a mistake. I really liked him. But right now, the starting safeties are Grant Delpit, strong safety, Ronnie Hickman, Ohio State, love Ronnie, and back up to him, Trey Dean III. That's it. You need more safeties. So we get a safety, and we get a good one. Kevin Winston Jr. out of Penn State. We got size here, and what I wanted was somebody who can be a ball hawk. Grant Delpit isn't a ball hawk. He can come up, like Lance was saying before, almost be like an extra little linebacker, pass rush, bit of a thumper. I need interceptions. Juan Thornhill got me no interceptions. Hickman can be a little playmaker like that, but I want somebody that can go get the damn ball in the air and maybe get some turnovers, which was severely lacking last year. At 3rd round value, Kevin Winston Jr. can fit right in. Can he start? He at least can battle with Hickman. For sure. You rotate him in. I love this pick here at this value, 70th overall. So now we go to offensive tackle. Because we have our quarterback, we got a defensive tackle, we have our star running back, we have our new hotshot tight end, we got a safety that could potentially start or at least come in and be a contributor right away. Now we need offensive tackle. We have Cornelius Lucas, who I waited on tackle because I don't think it's as urgent as it seems, because you still have DeJuan Jones, who when seen at the Cleveland Sports Awards looked good, looked healthy, looked leaner, keeping that weight off, but he's questionable. So now we look and we say, okay, where can we fit this? Where can we fit these guys in? Cornelius Lucas, more of a right tackle, but he can be a swing guy, so he could be left. You got Lorenzo Thompson is still there. He's okay. You added a guard, Tevin Jenkins. But on the offensive line, if we have DeJuan Jones, Jack Conklin, Cornelius Lucas, who can swing, and you can add in, you can go get one of those, like Jerron Christian, who we got, who was good. Lorenzo Thompson maybe can do that. But you need somebody else. Holland Pierce, 6'8", baby, out of Rutgers. And when you get that size, of course, the question is, what about the feet? We saw that big guy from the Jets go over. I can't remember his name, but he ended up being a guard because he couldn't move his feet. Pierce, that's a little bit of an issue, but he moves laterally pretty well. He's got some quick footwork. You have to work on it. But remember, DeJuan Jones was a 5th round pick. We're getting Holland Pierce 3rd round. I think his intangibles, and Jones shocked people with how good he did. But his footwork is better than Jones coming out of college from the analysis. So we got Holland Pierce. So now, offensive line, we're shoring up. Because now we got 2 potential backups. We can start rolling here. We can be a little more comfortable. And the last pick, the 4th round pick for the Browns in my 4-round mock, Torrey Horton out of Colorado State. We didn't get Shedeur. We didn't get Travis Hunter. We got Torrey Horton. This is somebody who can compete for the WR3, WR2 spot. He doesn't have the elite athleticism to be a 1. He's a 4th-round guy. But he's got the size I like. He's got 6'2", floating around 190s type of thing. And I personally still like the upside of Cedric Tillman better, but he's got to be able to stay on the field. Horton can catch. He can make some plays after the catch. Again, not break. He's somebody who is an upgrade. He is, if we look at the wide receiver group, Jerry Jeudy, is he better than Jamari Thrash, who's just kind of an ex-gunner guy? Yeah. Is he better than Michael Woods, the second? I think so right away. Who right now, by the way, folks, Michael Woods is listed as a starting wide receiver. Problem. That's not good. We got Jeudy, Tillman, Woods. By the way, they all have Q's beside their name outside of Tillman. DeAndre Carter was signed. He'll be a returner. The saga continues. Can he return a kick for a who the hell knows? But you are thin. You have Caden Davis on the roster too. Again, if you add a Torrey Horton, what that does is it drops down Woods. You put Horton in there. It's not the best wide receiver room in the league, but it's an upgrade. And then you sprinkle other people in. And again, you pop Harold Fannin Jr. into that secondary tight end spot. And I think we're flying. I think we're feeling pretty good. Plus, because of that trade with Jacksonville, we have their 2nd and 3rd round picks next year. If that scenario presented itself, I freaking love this draft. Is it a reach for Jackson Dart again? Yes, but we have enough pieces. Look at what we come away with. We're improved at just about every spot. Linebacker being the exception. Maybe you swing back and you get in the 5th round. A linebacker somewhere. One of the guys that Lance was talking about. But this mock, I think, really does solve a lot of problems for this team. So let me know what you think of this mock draft. Do you like it? Who's your quarterback? Would you make the trade with Jacksonville? And what do you think about the free agents that the Browns signed as well? So absolutely fantastic. It was, I just love doing these mock drafts. I think this is a real opportunity for the Browns to get better quick. So again, let me know. What do you think of Jackson Dart at 5 if that trade down happened? Who would you take it to? Do you like the Harold Fannin Jr. for tight end? Playmaker. What would you do? Let me know. And let me know again about the free agents that we talked about with Lance Reisland. So big thanks to our guest Lance, to producer Jimmy, and to all of you. Draft will be right around the corner, folks. And as always, go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.